man, another week has come and gone, and NXT and NXTUK have given us 3 hours of action. And we're going to talk all about that in just a second. Hey, it's me, Flobo Boyce. You're tuned into Draped in Gold, powered by Gamingware. Make sure you suit up by hitting up gmrware.com. NXT, NXTUK, Heritage Cups, and Cruiserweight Championships, and Halloween Havocs. We're going through all of that in just a second. Before I do, I got to introduce my tag team review partner of the world, Real Jack Farmer.
Flobo, man, we had so much stuff happen over the course of 3 hours. I have no idea how you're going to guide this ship through the iceberg-laden river waters of everything in less than an hour.
I have no idea either, but that's okay because we're here rocking with you. I want to thank everyone listening, watching live on Facebook, on YouTube, and especially those of you on Twitch. Thank you joining the stream. Hit that subscribe button because I'll appreciate you if you did. Jack, before we get into your wrestling action, I do have an important announcement to make. It's kind of serious. So today, my girl Bayley is the best wrestler on the planet. It's proven. Pro Wrestling Illustrated said it. She's number one. Bayley.
Undeniable. I'm so happy for you. All the work you put in, all the hours, all the time, all the support. Look, people can say that they're a fan of her and they like what she's done, but you have been day one Bayley when it wasn't cool, when it wasn't popular, when everyone mocked you for it. You were there. I'm so happy for you. And when they first announced this and they were voting and they were saying, who do you think it's going to be? Now, I'm a Johnny come lately. I wasn't on the Bayley train right away, but I can see the case now. And I remember when they first said on Twitter, who do you think number one's going to be? I said Bayley. I can't imagine anyone beating Bayley for Wrestler of the Year, female Wrestler of the Year at this point. Well earned, well deserved, and congratulations first to you, and then second to Bayley.
I've been absolutely nothing. I might buy that issue just to have it framed or something because I feel like I was part of it. It was awesome. Get on my bandwagon, y'all.
I think she was like, there was Flobo, Bayley buddies, Sasha, I think is the the list of importance of what got that number one spot.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm an influencer. but in all seriousness, NXT UK has some dope action. Let's talk about the main event first because I thought the episode overall for NXT UK was good, strong, but not the best. But that main event possibly turned the tide for me because of a lot of things. You had Ilya Dragunov, you had Pete Dunne returning. We all thought, and on text before the show, that Alexander Wolf would be the guy taking the pin, but it didn't happen. It was Ilya Dragunov pinning the United Kingdom champion, Walter. Jack, what?
This, as I said before we went on the air, Flobo, this match slapped. And if you don't believe me, just look at Dragunov's chest. It was bright red. It was the Red Menace. His chest was after this match was over. The thing about Dragunov is, I get it. He's fit. I like him. But I got a problem with old Dragunov. I got a problem with him because I think, I'm just going to say it, I think he's a coward. I think he's a big old baby and he's scared of Walter. This guy has had an opportunity at the NXT UK title. And does he cash it in? Does he go for it? No. What does he do? He goes, do I have any friends that want to help me against Imperium? And fortunately, Pete Dunne's always spoiling for a fight. So he's there. He's ready. But why isn't this for the title? Why isn't he going after that belt? I'll tell you why. He's scared. And even though he had an amazing performance tonight, even though he did the impossible and he actually got a pinfall over Walter, which has never been done on NXT UK, you know what it means? Nothing, because the title wasn't on the line. He didn't cash in that opportunity. And I have a feeling that he is going to live in regret the fact that he didn't man up and go after that title instead of calling for backup.
I just want to say, if the Kremlin's listening in, it was all Jack's opinion. I do not agree with that. Please don't hurt me. Dragunov is awesome. What do you mean he's a coward? He went out there and took those chops from Walter. He got dumped on his head. And he scored the pin. He could have been like, Pete, you got this. I'm going to handle it outside. He did most of the dirt work in the ring. That's not a coward. That is a true number one contender. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, if I don't know how those chops that Walter was giving him aren't a submission move because I'd have tapped out so early. You hit me with one of those things, I'm like, I'm tapping out of next week's match. That's how far I'm tapping out after I get hit like that. I'm taking time. I'm going on the shelf if I get hit like that in the chest. No way. But look at this match. I mean, again, he's impressive. I'm not saying he's a nobody. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the spotlight. But I'm saying, what kind of guy doesn't go for the title? Do you think Pete Dunne would have held on to a title shot this long before cashing it in? I bet if you gave Pete Dunne the opportunity to cash in, he'd have cashed it in that day, that moment. He wants the fight. I think Dragunov knows he's outmatched against a guy like Walter. Flobo, Nigel was asked during the show, how do you approach an opponent like Walter? And the answer to that is, you don't. You don't approach Walter. You go the other direction, or you zip up an Imperium jacket and you put your hands behind your back and you say, I'm with you, boss. That's what you do.
How many ways can Jack submit?
That's how you do it. You know, and you look on the other side, you got Walter. Walter's smart. That's why they call him the ring general. He brought Alexander Wolf in here. And you're right. You and I, we were talking beforehand and we were like, look, no disrespect to Alexander Wolf, but he seems like he's a little bit out of his league here, but that's why you bring him in. He's the hatchet man of Imperium. You don't bring Wolf into a match like that to win. You bring him in to wear down the opponent. So when Dragunov does cash in, he's sore. He's beat down. His joints hurt. His chest is beat up. He's been stepped on and kicked and beaten and bruised. And then all Walter has to do is pick up the pieces. Walter didn't get pinned because he wasn't the best wrestler in the ring tonight. He got pinned because he knew it didn't matter. And he knew that the big game, to lose the battle's fine, but to win the war, that comes later. And that's why he's the ring general.
The ring head around. Now we've, or maybe offline, I'll take the blame for this one. We were saying that Walter was always a thick boy, but he wasn't as fit as he was before the stop down. Now, about 2 weeks now, he'll be defending the United Kingdom Championship against Ilya Dragunov one-on-one. I assume with no interference, but who knows? All the shenanigans are happening. This could be a good opportunity for him to have some better training montages. Do you have Walter retaining then, seeing that he took the pin tonight?
I think Walter's going to retain. I think Walter has already figured out how to beat Dragunov, and I think Dragunov's going to make it a spirited contest. I think he's going to make it fun. I think it's going to be a match that we talk about for a long time. Again, no disrespect to him in that sense. I mean, he lifted Walter up over his head for that, is it the Gotch suplex? Yeah. And I mean, he's impressive. But I think Walter is just stronger. I think he's smarter, and I think he's going to know how to approach this match to get the win. It's going to be a banger of a match, but never bet against Walter. That's one thing that we all need to understand right here, right now. Yeah. In fact, I'm about to go get me one of those zip-ups. Where's the www.shop.com? I'm going to get one of those zip-ups. It's going to say Imperium. I'm going to add my name to the end there. It's not going to be an even print on the logo because I'm going to add Jack Farmer. It'll say Farmer. It'll say Wolf Farmer, and it'll be a funny little joke in my head. But I'm going to do that. Speaking of selling advertising space to the highest bidder, is there some kind of beverage you like drinking sometimes in the morning? Well, a lot of times people wonder, Jack, how do you keep your mind so sharp to notice these things? How do you make your analysis so perfect, so dead on? And the way I do it is I always start my day with a cup of coffee from www.thebrosters.com. There you can get all types of flavors, all types of coffees, even ones that don't have caffeine in them. I don't know why you do that, but some people like it. Anyways, the point is you can get coffee from www.thebrosters.com. And when you use promo code BROCODE1, you get a discount, you get a sticker, some swag. But most importantly, you get the best coffee available. It's organic, single origin, roasted weekly, not like the tubs you find in the store, just the very best coffee around from the Empire State. And Flobo, as you know, Empire State's where all the best stuff comes from. Of course, yeah. I cooked the home roasted coffee from upstate. Give it up for Brosters. Yes, we know you drink it, Jack. Come on. So take the landing, Flobo. So moving on, we had a quick women's match that was stemming from the dust up in Fisticup from last week, right? We had Isla Dawn, which unlike or very much like Jack Stars on NXT UK, her win-loss record is, I would say, the least impressive among anyone against Piper Niven. Now, this was a match that raised a lot of questions. A lot of people were involved in that dust-up. I'm not sure if Isla Dawn and Piper Niven had the most of a bit of a reason for that to happen, from having a match. And
Piper kind of made easy work of Isla Dawn. If you're Isla, man, you understand that any time you have a position in a wrestling company, someone has to lose, someone has to take the pin. But it's been you for the past year. Do you start to say, this is it for me? Or do you still try to like put yourself in the mid-card or upper part of the division?
Last week, I said Kaylee Ray was playing this entire division like a bunch of fiddles, and this is how it plays out. Isla Dawn, you're right. Maybe she needs to start reassessing what she's doing, but the fact that Piper is had her focus completely shifted off of that title, the title I think most people think she should be fighting for right now, to face someone who doesn't have a great win-loss record. This is Kaylee Ray doing what she does best and manipulating this division like a true champion. Isla Dawn, I don't know what's next for her. You're right. She's got to find a way to start picking up some dubs. But right now, she is just the voodoo doll of Kaylee Ray, getting in the way and taking all the pinpricks that Piper's going to throw out.
Why do you do this to me? You know I'm not the biggest Kaylee Ray fan. We just find ways to be like, Kaylee Ray is that good. Technically sound. She's such a win-loss record. I can't stand it. I don't get Kaylee Ray at all, but you're right. She's the empress on top of this division. Piper won tonight. We're looking at former number one contenders and current number one contenders. There isn't one quite yet. Piper had a chance and she lost it. If you are the magic guy with the powers to make matches, does Piper get a number 2? Is there a Kaylee Ray Piper Niven 2? Or is there someone you are focusing on next? And who would that be?
Piper's tough to look at because she's always a bridesmaid, never a bride, right? And it feels natural to say, yeah, she deserves another shot. She's got all the talent in the world. She's strong. She's big. She seems like a contender there, but how many times does she get a chance before we say, okay, someone else deserves a shot? She just had a shot and she just fell short. I kind of think she needs to earn her way back up the division. She needs to earn the right to have a match with Kaylee Ray, not just get one handed to her because she looks the part. If we get it, cool. But I think if you lose, it's time for the next person to step up. We don't need to see the same person get knocked down over and over and over again. Kaylee Ray deserves better than that.
I hate it so much. You know who deserves better? My man, Jordan Devlin. For as I'm concerned, the still current cruiserweight champion. And he cut a promo this week saying, look, man, that thing over there in Florida right now is a replica, a glorified number one contenders winning trinket prize toy. I thought it was on point. I want to see, quote unquote, Baby Balor beat the brakes of Legado de Fantasma. Jack Farmer, is Jordan Devlin the guy? Is he back on your radar? Or is this kind of like, bro, we moved on?
As Stone Cold Steve Austin once said, oh, hell yeah, this guy's back on the radar. I loved this promo. I loved that he noticed the disrespect he was getting. He did notice the fact that they took that interim NXT title name off and just made it the NXT Cruiserweight title. That is disrespect, Flobo.
Absolutely.
That is shameful on NXT's part. The fact that they just took the title from him when he did nothing wrong. I loved how intense he was. I loved how spirited it was. I loved the music. I loved the way he looked at the screen. As I said via text to you, Flobo, there are other people who have done the whole I never lost the title, I should still be champion thing, but no one has done it the way Jordan Devlin did it today. That guy deserves all the titles, not just the one for people who weigh less than 205.
Yeah, it seemed very apparent to me back in February when he won the Cruiserweight Championship, they were looking to build a whole new flavor of Cruiserweight action. We had the Luchador era, we had a little bit of the baby super kicks, but this was a whole different thing of that speed, power, and mat-based stuff. Again, sometimes it gets called derisively Baby Balor, but the Cruiserweight division can need that kind of thing. And when it was changed and the interim Cruiserweight title became the NXT Cruiserweight title, I felt, man, I didn't recognize Santo Escobar. Nothing against him. I love King Corno, but it's kind of messed up that you're at home and saying, we're going a different direction. And like you were saying also by text, I do think he expressed his frustrations a lot better than Sami Zayn, who had a very similar situation.
I want to stop right now the Baby Balor commentary. I find it disrespectful. I find it terrible. If anything, we should call Balor Bigger Devlin. That's all what we should be doing right now. Balor's the past, Devlin's the future. He's not the second Balor, he's the first Devlin, and we need to treat him as such.
I absolutely agree. The Irish ace is the ace for a reason. And to cap off, we have talked about this NXT UK Heritage Cup tournament because Jack's favorite pick to win it all was an accident night bomber, Dave Mastiff against Joseph Connors. I think we had our first knockout victory in the tournament with Dave Mastiff telling Joseph Connors, thoughts about your man winning in the very heavily favored contest, and thoughts about the progression of the Heritage Cup tournament.
First off, I want to give a quick commentary on Joseph Connors. He comes out and it says, "I am worthy," all over the screen. That's his motto. I am worthy. And I just got to say, Connors, listen, this isn't one of those lame self-motivation Instagram accounts where we use self-motivation quotes to get going. This is NXT UK, and the only way you're worthy is by earning it and beating people. And someone who earned it and beat someone today is my pick to win the entire Heritage Cup, Dave Mastiff. And I picked him for a reason. It's because he is the biggest name in the tournament as far as actual physical size. And in a tournament like this, you're going to take bumps, you're going to take bruises, you're going to get beat up. And he is the guy that's going to be the most durable throughout. So the fact that he was able to knock out Connors today, I think is just a premonition to what we're going to see multiple times as he makes his way through this tournament. I don't think anyone is going to be able to slow him down now that he has the momentum. Dave Mastiff, you might as well give him that big old trophy now. I called it. He's going to win it. I've never been wrong. Dave Mastiff, if you don't go through, you have done me a great disservice.
Well, it seems very apparent that Dave Mastiff is the one to beat right now. And next week, we're going to have a matchup between Kenny Williams and Trent Seven. Who do you got there? Or I guess more importantly, who do you want to see Dave Mastiff face next?
Well, I'd rather him face Kenny Williams, but I think Trent Seven is going to get the win here. Trent Seven, I loved his promo tonight, by the way. I thought it was really great for getting people like me to kind of get on board the Trent Seven brand. I know who he is because of Mustache Mountain. I know he's proven himself as a tag team for a long time. I know he's also one of the bigger guys in this tournament. But I loved how he talked about his experience. And I think experience in this kind of thing is going to be huge for him because he's going to understand how to use the rules to his advantage. But he also knows more than anything that, he's getting older and he doesn't have that many more chances like this. So he's not going to let this slip through his fingers. He's not going to let it slip. He's not going to take it for granted. Instead, he's just going to take the opportunity. And that's why I think he's going to get the next win.
So imagine if Joseph Connors won this tournament, we'd probably be throwing our remote controls on the screen. But what's next with Joseph Connors, it seems? Like, I know it's kind of hard to tell now because as far as the reboot's concerned, he was just a guy in this tournament. But here's somebody who lost by knockout. Like, I mean, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. There was a time where I could not stand Bobby Lashley before he became active wrestling. This is probably backstory why I didn't like him a lot of ways very, very recently. Because one time I was at this, I think it was in the casino in Southern California, and Bobby Lashley was an MMA fight. And he lost on SOS, submission on strikes, which you were saying earlier. Basically, someone hit him so hard, Bobby Lashley was like, I quit, no more, right? But here's somebody who got knocked out in a wrestling match, and he was disqualified, or he lost. So, like, what do you do with that? Do you put him in another feud? Do you have him be a spoiler to Dave Mastiff? Do you, try to have him anywhere near this Heritage Cup at all, or...?
Flobo, if he had won this match, there is not enough pins on the planet for me to throw at my screen.
I'm out of pins.
I'm out of pins. Where does he go from now? I think he needs to go find someone that's going to toughen him up a little bit. I am worthy. Are you kidding me? This is conflict sport, and you're going to... I'm worthy. I deserve to be here. I'm good enough. Shut up. Go get punched in the face a few more times, toughen up, get some thicker skin, and then come out and show up and get ready to fight. Could you imagine him? Who is the person that you think he could stand up to? Walter would slap him in half. Well, I don't know. Like, could you imagine? Could you, like, he would literally just cut through him. Whoosh, and, it would be like a hot knife through butter. Just, I think he needs to go reassess what he wants to do with his life. If his idea of pumping himself up before a match against a guy like Mastiff is to say, I am worthy, you got to figure out something else, man, because this is not that kind of business. This is not a yoga retreat. It's pro wrestling, and you need to bring more than I am worthy.
Savage. Oh my Lord. If you guys want to send Jack Farmer hate mail, please do at Real Jack Farmer across all social media.
I'm worthy of it.
Oh my gosh. It's like the bullying month, guys. All right, so across the SA NXT action was in full force as we are on the closing course to Halloween Havoc, hosted by Shotzi Blackheart, and she even got involved in a little bit of stipulation action. But before we do talk about that, just overall thoughts about NXT. We're talking about this year, it being a unique year for wrestling in general, and NXT is trying to find out what the next formula is. I like to say it's the third wave of NXT. A lot more new faces, a lot more shifting alliances, namely this. Then we had a match up top, Birch and Lorcan against Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, determined number one contenders for the tag team championships, held currently by Breezango. But Kyle O'Reilly was doing a lot of the talking. Jack, is there room for one more at the head of the table for the Undisputed Era?
Overall, I want to say about this episode of NXT is I would say that this was called the do or die episode, because just about every match was a match where all the competitors were kind of in do or die situations. Everyone needed a win tonight. There was no one who could have gotten by without a win, and not everyone got one. So there were stakes on everything. So I loved it. I do like how we're starting to see Kyle O'Reilly get on the mic and really start to find his groove there. Right now, Adam Cole is still friendly about it. Right now, Adam Cole is still supportive. But this is a company of alpha males. Everyone wants to be the head of the table, and there's not more than one head of the table. I know that there's two sides. You could say there's two ends, but only one of those ends is the actual head of the table, Flobo. And I don't know how long Adam Cole will be happy with Kyle O'Reilly acting as the new de facto leader. I don't think the Undisputed Era has two eras of leadership long term.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I'm usually at the kiddie table. Charlene writes, have either of you boys tried to be a fan in the stands at the Thunderdome? Jack?
I've not tried to do it. Not for
and
any
why not?
Not for any negative reason. I just I feel like there'd be pressure to like do something the whole time. You know, like if my face was on the screen, I feel like I'd have to be like, I feel like I'd have to be reacting in a weird way. I like to watch wrestling. Well, I take lots of notes because we do these shows, but I like to be in it and enjoy it. And I feel like I would be I feel like I'd have to perform for it, and I wouldn't enjoy that.
It's like not to make it about me, but definitely about me. It's like going to a comedy club. You get there early, and they put you in the front row. And since I perform comedy, it's like, well, I'm in the front row. Let me laugh. That show was a cool knock joke. I totally get it.
Well, you see some people on the screens too, and no disrespect to anyone, but you see some people and they're just like, and like they just look dead and boring, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, be part of the show.
This is the Thunderdome, huh?
Yeah,
it's like an Applebee's.
Like, help! I'm stuck.
I'm stuck in the Thunderdome.
So I don't know. I haven't, but again, it's not like out of a negative thing or anything like that. I don't know.
Gotcha. I understand. So we talked about Ember Moon's return and about how it didn't quite hit the way we thought it would, at least for us. I mean, for some people out there in Twitter land, they may have loved Ember Moon's return to NXT. I thought it could have been done more, but there was a promo last night that goes really bit into the backstory of ye old war goddess. I don't know. Has it moved the needle for you at all, Jack Farmer?
I thought this was a great promo. I thought it was good for her. It felt like they were moving a little bit away from some of the cheesiness she said before, though they did drop Ember's Law again. They're trying for that one. I don't know if that's going to catch on or not, but I still don't like that, but I thought this was a good promo for her. I thought I would have liked to have had her say, she said, you know, your past and your previous accolades don't give you a shot at the title. I wanted her to follow it up with, but mine do. And then I thought that would have given a little bit more edge. But overall, again, I said last week, I think her cadence is great. I think the way she sounds is great. I think her body language is great. Her look is great. She wrestles great. It's just finding that congruence that brings it all together and makes it feel like one cohesive character. And I'm not saying that this is it doesn't mean that's the end for her, or it's not necessarily a horrible thing at this point, because a lot of the things I'm saying about her, and I don't mean to jump ahead, I used to say about Damien Priest, and Damien Priest is now firing on all cylinders. So it's not the end of the world. I think this is where she figures that out and she gets there. But I think because she's a name we know, she's going to have to get there a little bit faster than other people are allowed.
You know what? No, let's jump ahead because I want to see this comparison. Damien Priest is the match against Dexter Lumis, and Dexter Lumis for a long time felt like he was going to be the next guy, right? So I want to see your comparisons more to the way you thought Damien Priest was, where he is right now, the match last night.
I think before with Damien Priest, he was trying to be a lot of different things, like the Archer of Infamy, the Live Forever thing. And he was adding all these different layers to his character that were unnecessary and didn't fit. Now he's feeling like that guy. We've talked about it. And I don't know how many listeners have ever been around Hollywood at night. He feels like one of those guys that hangs out outside of the Viper Room, like a vampire, the way they look sometimes. Right. But you know what I'm talking about. Those people that hang around. He feels like that. Now, the fact that he's in a match with Dexter Lumis, Flobo, I know that Damien Priest likes to drink. I know he likes to party. That's what he does. I think maybe he had a few too many drinks before he agreed to this match, because I don't know why you would ever step in the ring with a guy like Dexter Lumis, one of the most terrifying people I've ever seen in my life. And especially after he's had some brutal matchups, as a fan, I love it because I'm getting to see some matches that should be on TakeOver. But as a person, if I was an advocate for him, if I was trying to talk to him, if I was one of his friends, maybe he needs better friends. I'd be like, look, Priest, slow it down. You don't need to defend the title every week. These people should be paying for your matches now. That's where he's at. But all that said, as far as the congruency, man, I think he's hit his stride and he's doing great.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting now that his new shirt on Shop Zone, I always call it Shop Zone, or WWE Shop, is Rock and Roll Champion. Like they totally said you can keep all the supernatural stuff. It's just a guy who just wears fishnets and hangs out at the clubs on weekends. So
right.
But Dexter Lumis, I thought that he was on a path to becoming in that North American title picture, but Cameron Grimes cave stops him. Like out of nowhere, and it's on the ring area. It looks like Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis are headed for a program. We talked about Cameron Grimes, the pure heel in that brand. Is Dexter the right guy for Cameron right now?
I think I should have mentioned this more off air. I don't want to talk about Dexter. He creeps me out. I feel uncomfortable discussing Dexter Lumis.
Wait, you just somehow said that the Russians are weird for nailing a dragon off, but Dexter Lumis, like, I don't know.
Have you seen him? Have you looked into his eyes? They're terrifying. I don't want to. This guy. Every time I say his name, I feel like it's like Candyman. He's gonna pop out and murder me from somewhere. I don't want to talk about this guy. He terrifies me. He's a psychopath. I don't want to speak his name again. He's weird. He creeps me out. I think he still wears his apron when no one's looking, because that's the kind of weird person he is. He draws. That's weird. It's not weird, but whatever. I'll talk about Cameron Grimes. I'm not afraid to talk about Cameron Grimes.
Oh, yeah, no one's afraid to talk about Grimes.
Okay. I love Cameron Grimes, man. I love him. He reminds me of the guy. Have you ever been to a sporting event, Flo? But let's say like a football game. And
there's a game I've been to.
There's the guy that's always wearing the other team's jersey when the other team wins, and he's drank too much, and so he's just obnoxious and annoying, and you hate him because he's
always a Cowboys jersey. But
it's the drunk he's the drunk Cowboys jersey wearing guy at the stadium when his team just shellacked you. That's how he acts. That's how he walks around. Just a cock in his walk, a jump in his step. He is so much fun to watch. I love this guy. He's such a jerk. And I think he has just, top hat aside, man, come on, this guy's so fun. I know he's a bad guy and he's a jerk, and I shouldn't like him, just like I shouldn't like the annoying fan from the other team, but I gotta admire his gumption. Gotta admire his just, you know what he would never say to himself? I am worthy. He just goes out there and he cave stomps people
like that. I'm worthy.
I'm all aboard the Cameron Grimes train.
Well, I guess more importantly, that we can't mention his eventual feud against the person that should not be named. Turns out the House of Gargano got a bit bad news from Regal. He said, "War games." No. Shotzi Blackheart says, your match is a Halloween Havoc, which I guess is a semi-pay-per-view-ish event on NXT, will be done by the Wheel of Misfortune. And she definitely moohed and woohoo. Yeah, let's talk about Halloween Havoc real quick. It's shaping up. Yeah, that's the stuff. It's shaping up to be one of these like hybrid events where we love it, like Great American Bash, or even up down south in Florida with AEW with like their Bash at the Beach kind of things. But it's looking pretty stacked. And Shotzi Blackheart is a host now. This thoughts about Halloween Havoc. I know you're a WCW guy. We talked about a little bit last week, but now the card is shaping up. What's your thoughts going into that?
I'm loving it. I love that they're bringing back the wheel. I think it's silly in that in the right kind of way. In that it's a throwback. It's fun. Halloween is a fun time of year. It's a fun holiday. They're having fun with it, and they're also having some great matches put together. So I think all in all, it's a win. I don't know why you wouldn't be happy with this. Like, you get the fun nostalgia, you get the silly stipulations, you get the wheel. Who doesn't like a wheel that decides your fate? I feel like we all should just have our fate decided by a wheel. It'd make life a lot easier or harder, depending on where it stops.
That is the worst one to go for. So Johan Pena asks, who do you think is winning the women's title at Halloween Havoc? Io Shirai has a bit of a rematch, I guess. I guess Candice LeRae. It seems that way. What do you think?
I got a feeling that this is Candice LeRae's time. I think she's going to win it. I think this is her moment. And I want to say something, because a lot of people have been pretty unhappy about old Candice LeRae. They've been giving her a hard time, and I'm just going to say it. I'm going to address the elephant in the room here when it comes to Candice LeRae. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people have been quarantined. I know a lot of people have been socially distanced and locked down in their house, and they're single, and so they don't have anyone there with them. And they're just so jealous of the fact that during this hard time, she's in a happy relationship with a good person at home, doing things the right way. And it's such a shame that in this day and age, being a good, nice, wholesome couple is something that leads people to resenting you. And now she's trying to create a fun environment, a fun neighborhood. Her and Indy Hartwell probably making a neighborhood watch together, maybe a book club or something. And they see this kind of stuff happening. And it's just the way of the world right now, right? That little Twitter conspiracies. Oh, they're doing stuff to help each other. They're doing bad things. It's just a shame that you can't be a happy couple in a happy relationship and build communities, Flobo, without everyone else getting mad and trying to come up with crazy conspiracy theories. Get off of next door, people. Get into the real world and know that Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano and Indy Hartwell are people we should look up to as the kind of neighbors we strive to be.
First of all, you're right. Delete Nextdoor. It's a toxic app. It does no good for anyone. And all you do is make you so you hate your neighbors. But second of all, are you out of your mind there, Jack Farmer? Are you kidding me? The Garganos have been one of the most savage characters on that show. Look, we all know there's a little bit of jealousy and all that. You know, Maria Kanellis was married to Mike Kanellis, and we booed him for it. He loved his wife. We booed him for it. But come on, the Garganos and their cooking segments and their giant TV having things, wearing twin tracksuits. They're basically like Muffy and Mitchell over there at the end of town with their own gated community. It looks down on you when you go to the local Sprouts. These guys are bad. They're toxic. I can't believe you're sitting here defending them. Makes you wonder what kind of person you are. I'm going to type that on my Nextdoor app about how you are acting right now, having Jerry Gargano and Candice Gargano vibes. It's messed up, man.
No, you just said it. You're like, yeah, they're baking and cooking together. I'm sorry that they don't go to McDonald's every day like the rest of America. I'm sorry they still eat around the table like a real family and have conversations with each other. I'm sorry that when Candice LeRae says, hey, Johnny, can I tell you about my day at work? He says, yes, honey, because I love you and I support you and care about you. Unlike maybe some of the families that the people who watch are in, and that's why they get so crabby. Maybe you all should read a Cosmo and take one of those quizzes that tell you if you're in a good relationship, because I guarantee you when the Garganos take one, they get a perfect score.
You know dang well those quizzes destroy more relationships than they say. Come on, man. I can't believe this. You're a bona fide heel. And not even one of the cool ones either. I am not going to buy your merch. I am not. But your boy Johnny, your best friend Johnny, had a match against Austin Theory. It's looking more and more apparent that Austin Theory is here to stay, whether you like it or not. But Gargano got the win. Maybe a little bit of momentum heading into Halloween Havoc. Thoughts about that? We all didn't know what to do with Austin Theory. He seems to be part of the fold now. Gargano has a little bit of momentum heading into Halloween Havoc. What do you think about this match?
Well, I just want to start off with Johnny Gargano, and we need to start recognizing him as being as good as he is. He puts on clinics with people, Flobo, over and over and over again. I know Austin Theory is one of these up-and-comers, and so many of these people who are up-and-comers, Johan gets it, so many of these up-and-comers think that they are already there, but then they step into a ring with a Johnny Gargano, nay, a Johnny Wrestling, and they learn what wrestling really is. He is one of the best wrestlers that has been on NXT possibly ever. That's why we call him Johnny Wrestling. You know why? Because he's that good at wrestling. We didn't call him Stone Cold Steve Wrestling. We didn't call him Dwayne The Rock Wrestling. We didn't call him Hulk Wrestling. We didn't call him the Heartbreak Wrestling, Hunter Hearst Wrestling. We didn't even call him Vince McWrestling. You know who gets the wrestling name?
Oh, come on.
Johnny Wrestling, because he's that good in the ring. And based on what I've seen with how he handles his personal life, he's that good in the ring and he's that much better out of the ring, Flobo.
So what about your boy Austin, though? Because you said
you're like whatever, dude.
He wrestled himself apparently. Like it was a match, but wrestling is how good he is. Now, come on, man. Look, we sat here a month ago and you said, Finn Balor is definitely in put over mode, partner. That's a Jack my Farmer impression. Anyway, but now Johnny Gargano's doing the same exact thing, and now you're like, oh, wrestling. He's amazing. I can't believe it.
I think that Austin Theory is one of these guys that, yes, he has all the tools. He just needs to learn when to use them. It's the difference between someone who's new at their craft and someone who's been doing it for a long time, right? Like there's this old story about how they wanted to fix a submarine, and this company, they kept trying to find people to come fix it, and they couldn't find it. And then one guy who charged a ton of money comes in there and says, I'll fix the submarine. He walks in there, he listens to the engine for a second, takes a small hammer and taps it, dink, and they're like, and it fixes it. It works perfectly. And they say, how come we have to pay you so much money when you just went dink and fixed the submarine? And he said it wasn't for the dink, it was for the knowledge of how to do it. And that's where Austin Theory needs to get. He has all the tools to start doing these things. He just needs to learn how and when. And I think he needs to start by giving up this all day thing. Flobo, he's great. He keeps going into these buzzsaws trying to prove something. You know what he should do right now? What I would tell him to do? Line up some tomato cans. Line up some people who are pushovers, some easy. Where's Kona Reeves when you need him? Get this guy, get him, and get some wins under your belt. You don't need to try to beat one of the greatest all the time, Flobo. The fans, I like getting these matches, but sometimes the fans don't deserve them. Get some good wins under your belt, Austin Theory, then come back.
Look, man, you know what? You could stop there with all that Austin Theory stuff because, frankly, he's doing the best job that he can. And somehow he went to a buzzsaw on Johnny Gargano. But you want him to get soup cans or tomato cans and pushovers and all that? Forget it. I don't think that's the issue for him because what he wants to be all day. All day was new. All day was fresh. My problem with Austin Theory is It's a bit too clean cut for his character. He looks like he's going to like take your daughter out and have her back by 7:30. That's the only thing. You can't be a jerk and asshole if I feel like I can beat you. That's not how that works.
What do you want me to do? Put on some Raven like jacket and cut up jeans? Is that what's next for him?
Okay, you know what? Pause. Guys, who are watching this live, I've known Jack my entire adult life because I'm only like 21 years old. And he's told me a submarine story all the time about a guy who goes over and does a little dink. All I'm saying is Austin Theory has all the tools, right? He doesn't have to say all day, but he doesn't have to be like a super 90s pastiche of what cool wrestling is either. He could come out and just be himself. He could be Mr. Theory or whatever.
I don't know. There's a lot of jeans on this episode of NXT Flow, but maybe it is a good idea to get on some jeans and cut off.
I am moving on.
So I like Austin Theory. I think he's got potential. He just needs someone to focus him a little bit. It's almost a shame that Seth Rollins wasn't there to help him learn that, hey, maybe you don't need to do all this stuff. Just get some wins, get some good things going instead of trying to prove yourself to the fans who are always going to be fickle anyways.
They're fickle. Speaking of people who are fickle, we have our girl Aaliyah, Robert Stone brand. I guess they're still around the brand. I thought I kind of forgot about them. Had a match against the returning Toni Storm. You guys know how big of a Toni Storm fan I am or was before 2019 came and made me go, this is kind of interesting. But this is kind of a rehab tour for Toni. She has a lot of promise. Where does she fit in this 2020 weird quasi-real NXT with semi-fans and not?
Toni Storm, I think, is the perfect Storm in the sense that she has the look. I think she wrestles well. I can totally see the thing of putting the mark under your eye getting popular with fans. Once the fans come back, I guarantee you're going to see a ton of fans with the mark under their eye. She wrestles well. She's got a good theme song. And let me ask you this, Flobo. How often does someone come to a new brand and debut as the favorite against someone who has the mind of a Robert Stone in their corner at the same time? The fact that she's already being pegged as a future contender shows that not only can she do great things, but we expect great things from her. And I can't wait to see her fulfill all that.
That happens a lot, though, for Aaliyah's case. I mean, she loses a lot to debuting people.
I'm trying to make Toni Storm sound better, Flo.
I'm just saying. Look, man, I always said this. I felt like in the Mae Young Classic in 2018 into 19, Toni Storm was unstoppable. She basically rebuilt the NXT UK Women's Division in her image. But that storyline with Kaylee Ray, maybe that's probably the reason why I hate Kaylee Ray, has totally like wiped out any kind of goodwill. And I wonder about rehabbing. So she's a brand new promotion. She's now in a brand new promotion, brand new competitors. What do you do with someone like Toni, with the tools, with the pedigree, with the milestones that had such a demoralizing, I guess, like storyline beforehand, but without it becoming cheesy or, as the kids say on the IWC, forced, bro?
Toni Storm is a force of nature, and you don't do anything with her. You react to her, and she does what she wants. I think it's up to her to figure out what she wants to do next. Now, she just had a run-in with the Robert Stone brand. I would say, if I was her friend, if I'd pull her aside and I'd say, listen, Toni Storm, do the smart thing. Sign with the Robert Stone brand. Make some money. Get some good matches. Get some leadership in these new waters that you're in. It's like in prison, man. When you go in, you don't go picking fights with everyone. You find the smartest person there and you team up with them, and then you take over the place. I think that's what she can do with Robert Stone brand. By the way, Robert Stone brand, great suit.
You just dropped people to prison? You can't just say, it was like going to prison and then move on. What? Jack, what did you do?
I don't talk about that. But what we have, but I would say that I would just say I think she should team up with Robert Stone brand. Robert Stone brand has an opening, it would seem, and I think you need to jump on that. He's obviously looking for talent. He's obviously looking for some more muscle for his team, and I think someone like Toni Storm with a cool look like hers, standing next to a guy with a great suit like his and Aaliyah, they would be a dynamite team. I'd love to have them.
Interesting. You know who's someone I think needs a team but kind of has one? Transition. Xia Li, man, my favorite storyline so far in NXT. Because Xia Li was always in the background of Women's Division. She was on the undercard. Didn't win too much. Turned heel, it seemed. Last week, she got letter by fellow Chinese wrestler Boa and walked out of the ring. This week, she's begging William Regal for a match. And here's somebody who didn't speak back to Regal at all, or speak to Regal at all, saying, I want a match. Regal's like, I'll take it into consideration. And he's like, no, really, I need this match. Jack, I gotta ask you, man, what is going? I love me a good wrestling whodunit, a wrestling mystery, a wrestling caper. What do you think is going through Xia Li's mind, and what does next week entail for the spicy Xia Li?
You know, it's so funny. You're right. It's funny how Xia Li was one of these people that was always kind of simmering on the back burner. You're like, she's got something. It's gonna happen, I think, but I don't know what it is. And then Boa shows up. And you're like, interesting. But then tonight, you're right. She goes and she talks to Regal, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And I remember my reaction, and it's such an underrated reaction. We always talk about standing up or cheering or booing. It's such an underrated reaction. But she talks back to Regal, and I said to myself, huh. And it makes you think, like, what's going on here? This seems interesting. Why is she begging for a match? And what does Boa have to do with this? Because Boa, it seemed like he was watching her as if like it felt almost like she owed Boa something. And Boa was like, you better make this work. It's not my job to make it work, but I'm going to make sure you figure this out. I wonder if Xia Li maybe got herself in trouble in some way. Maybe this isn't one of those happy-go-lucky, hey, I'm going to be your manager and help you out. Maybe it's one of those things like, Xia Li, you owe me, and you better find a way to pay up. That's what I think might be happening here. Boa didn't look like he was there to be her friend.
So here's a question I have for you, because we are both friends and fans of the different brands under the WWE umbrella. We've had similar storylines like this before. What's in the box? Who's Retribution? How long can this particular storyline go before we go, who cares?
The thing with storylines and the thing with watching things play out is I believe the secret isn't actually what the payoff is necessarily. The secret is just having progressive story beats move things forward. As fans, when we're watching, when we get bored is when things either just completely go off the rails and it takes a 180 and you're like, this has nothing to do with what's been going on in the past, or if it repeats the same beat over and over and over and over and over again. Something to talk about the other brands. That was one of the issues I had with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. It felt like they were just repeating the same process in the story over and over and over again instead of moving the conversation forward, as opposed to, again, using WWE. You look at the Roman Reigns Jey Uso storyline and how it started off as, okay, Roman's the champ. Okay, he's buddies with their family, with his family Jey. Then things get a little bit more heated. Now it's personal, but now it's more than personal to its family. Now there's going to be another match. Now what's the stipulation? Okay, now what will happen if Jey Uso loses? Because he says he's going to make him regret it. Now we're slowly building. We're taking steps to make the story continually be better.
Right.
With this, it's the same thing. As long as we don't keep rehashing Xia Li saying, I need a match for the next 6 months, if she gets the match, if we see beats in the story, it will continue to be a good story, I believe.
Charlene writes, are you boys enjoying NXT storylines? Now, I know my answer. And of course, the purpose of the show, Jack, I'm going to ask you this as a combined with NXT and NXTUK. That's kind of show we run. Are you enjoying the NXT storylines currently?
I am. I think that both shows are kind of doing the same thing in different ways, and that is they're transitioning into sort of a new era in the sense that I think NXT has had a lot of their talent pulled to go to the other brands, and so they have to now reestablish where they're at and what they're doing. And I think they're doing a great job of that, but it is a little bit of like starting at zero and trying to get moving again. It's, like the snowball that rolls downhill, it becomes a giant avalanche. But right now we're still in the early phases of it rolling. I think UK is doing the same thing, coming off a literal dead stop and going forward, and I'm enjoying it because you're kind of getting to see the start of these things. It's always fun to see, of course, the guys who've been around forever doing great things, like a Ciampa and a Gargano doing their thing forever and ever. But it's also fun to see the new guys coming up, taking those spots, like Kyle O'Reilly, and feeling like, even though he's been a tag team champion, he's been on NXT forever, feeling like you're there from the beginning of his solo journey. And the same thing goes for NXT UK, getting to feel like you're there for the start of the Heritage Cup, the start of this new thing happening. It feels like a fun time to be a fan because it feels like you're getting to be there from a new start.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's pretty. I'm the same way. A lot of people talk about like the differences between the brands and even down in Jacksonville with AEW. I like NXT storylines. I like NXT UK's. I'm more of a character-driven guy. This is why NXT UK is my favorite. When it comes to the nuances between this guy and that guy are so small, it's kind of fun to pick and say, hey, I like Joel Coffey against Dave Mastiff for this certain reason. Whereas I think AEW has better storylines. I do prefer the characters in the black and gold brands just a little bit more. Not to say anyone's bad. Not to say the stories are whack, but I do
prepare for all the Twitter attacks now. You've picked a side. You're a shill, Flobo.
I get that all the time. People say I'm a WWE mark, and it's a weird thing because I've been a lifelong fan since 1993. So yes, in some ways, I'm a mark. I've given WWE hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Now, I won't buy any stock because I'm not stupid. But I am a complete mark. But the thing is, you can tell when something is not to you liking. You can move on or say it's not my vibe. But I think now, especially on NXT, there is a bit of fresh writing there. Xia Li was on that bench for about a year and a half. And now this storyline can be very, very small. It could be like a 8:30 p.m. little bit of a storyline beat. But now that's interesting. I want to know what she's about. Cameron Grimes, night and day. Damian Priest, night and day. Compare that to, say, someone like I really, really love, Apollo Crews. Here's somebody who has all the talents in the world. He comes to Raw, was hot for about 6 weeks, but really hot for like 2. Got a new theme song, and then his own storyline basically eclipsed him and passed him by. And it's like, well, hey, come back over here. So I mean, that's the flip side too. But I'm not here to bash the other brands because this is a black and gold show, baby.
No, and look, I agree. I'll say right now, I'm a WWE mark. I've loved them forever. I've been a fan of theirs forever. I was a WCW mark when they were around. I like wrestling. I don't care. I don't know why people get so caught up in trying to be too cool to just say you're a fan of something. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I like what's going on, and kind of to my point with like Xia Li, it's new. It's like a new thing, and you get to feel like, even though she's been around forever, like you said, it feels like if you started watching now, you're there from the quote unquote start of the Xia Li story.
True. Ground floor. I'm telling you, man, I pick my wrestlers and then ride it to the end. That's how that's how it is. Let's talk real quick about the other cruiserweight division, because it kind of had a little bit of layer storytelling, that thing you love so much, and a match with Ashanti Theodonis against Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas win, which again, kind of needed it. But then we got the Legado del Fantasma getting involved. Your boy Swerve gets involved. It's looking like a 3-on-3 grand gang fight in the purple division. Thoughts about this? Thoughts about more Swerve, less Swerve, and the thoughts about Legado del Fantasma?
Do you feel like this is a different you call it purple instead of gold? Do you feel like the cruiserweight division is still almost in itself a separate brand?
That's a very good question, man. Look, I understand changing it to the NXT brand, make sure that it has a home on the NXT brand instead of having it float around. But as long as it's a different color strap and there is actually a show dedicated to that, it kind of is like the women's NWA title being defended on AEW. Like, it's almost like a cottage brand within a brand. I think they have to do more and say, no, it's only going to be defended on NXT, or do less and say, no, it's only 205 for it to really make sense to me either way. But yeah.
Right. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's in kind of a weird spot. I love the cruiserweight title. I'd love to see it just become basically an NXT title, personally. But as far as this goes, man, I haven't seen much of Ashanti the Adonis. I loved him though. I thought his look was cool. I loved his music. I like his style. I think maybe he needs to quit making so much noise and getting attention from the wrong kind of people, though. You know what I mean? You don't win the award for taking on the biggest gang in the yard, if we're using the prison analogy still. I think sometimes you need to just keep your head down. I think you need to do your work and quit being so reckless. Otherwise, guys like Escobar find you and they come after you, and things like this happen. Something that I noticed, and something that Beth had mentioned, it's a much bolder Jake Atlas recently, isn't it? Like, I mean, he stood toe-to-toe with Tommaso Ciampa, which will never, ever be something you should ever write off because he's a psychopath, and if you're standing toe-to-toe with him, that's something you should never overlook. But I don't know if Jake Atlas of the past would have taken advantage of a distracted opponent the way he did today. I think he's looking for wins. I don't know if he just knows he needs these wins, or if he's just saying, you know what, I'm just going to start taking what I want. But I really like to see that side of Jake Atlas as well. As far as Phantasma coming out, you're damn right they came out. Adonis came out and messed up their match. They're going to come out and mess up theirs. It's called a receipt, Flobo. It's what you do. In fact, if anything, I thought they went light on the guy. I think that he deserved a little bit more of a beatdown. And this is what happens. If you're going to mess up with these guys, the body count's going to continue to rise. Phantasma is a group you don't mess with.
Shout out to Vesper of Evil. She says, would love to see a Cruiserweight invasion angle on SmackDown. And I say, why the heck not? Jack?
I agree. I want to see more of, I think that'd be a great place for it. I'd actually say the only difference I'd say maybe on Raw, because Raw has an extra hour they got to fill up. So they probably need the,
saying it's not filled up as enough as it is?
I think they just need a little bit more love. But Vesper of Evil, shout out for being here. Good to see you on this show. Obviously one of the good friends from the Everything tournament. So great to see you here, Vesper. But yeah, I think, Phantasma, they're running that division. They're going to run it for a long, long time. The only thing that could stop them right now, I think, is Swerve. Swerve is from Tacoma. So even though I don't like the fact that he's messing with Phantasma, I would never naysay someone from Tacoma, because guys from Tacoma, they come after you. They don't let you chat. They'll give you a smack, tell you stop talking. And I'm not going to get smacked by Swerve. I'll tell you what.
You think you know a guy, and then you drop prison references and tell him about guys in Tacoma. What kind of life do you live, Jack? I want to know. Like, what do you do when you're...
I'm from Tacoma. That's
you got all the tattoos in the backside.
Right. It's just like everything under this is just totally tattooed with the crimes I've committed.
And if you want to see that, his OnlyFans is at onlyfans.com/.
Yeah. As long as the makeup covering my teardrop tattoos doesn't wear off.
Oh man! First of all, Kremlin, he said all himself. So our final match of the evening was Imperium, the American side, Eichner and Martel, taking on Killian and Dane, the Furry and the Fury. Hey, I'm digging it. I love the music. I like where we're going here, and Killian Dane and Drake Maverick is having a Team Hell No vibe.
Is that what they're going to call themselves? The Furry and the Fury? Is that officially their name?
No. It was the thing he wrote down that little piece of paper, and Killian was like, "What the hell?" I thought that was funny. I love this Imperium crew. I'm going to talk about how I love Imperium till the day I die. I love this group. I love those two. Eichner, just a beast. I think both these guys could have good singles runs as well as their tag team run, but I look at those guys, and they're what wrestling should be. They take it seriously. They do a great job. They get the work in. They work hard. They do follow the rules. They do everything right, Flobo. I don't know why we boo these guys, and instead we cheer a guy like Drake Maverick who thinks it's all a joke. It's all silly. Here we go. We get on our Twitter machines and we talk about how, well, it's so goofy. It's so silly. I don't like it. And then you have this goofy, silly guy come out here and we're like, yay, he's the best. And we boo the guys who take it seriously, bring wrestling to another level. If I was Killian Dane right now, I would throw Drake Maverick like a lawn dart back to the 205 division. And I would try to get in good with my old pal, Alexander Wolf, and become one of the Imperium guys. That's what I would do. But that said, I had fun watching this match. They're a fun team. That took a very dark turn. Well, I mean, on brand, apparently. I like how you're such a nice guy on Wednesday nights, but on Thursday afternoon, just like, it was me.
It was me.
I think it's a cool thing, and there's some comedy needed in NXT. They're not the best at it. I thought it was kind of a fun thing. Of course, it can wear very thin. I like before the pandemic, I loved the Bro Show, with Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. It's kind of the odd couple pairing. It's fine with it. I'm fine with everything, really.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think they're fun together. In all seriousness, I think they're fun. I agree that it's good to have some lighthearted stuff going on, and it gives Killian Dane something other than being just a big lumbering bear of a man. You know, you need more than that in wrestling. And but I gotta double down on old Drake Maverick, man. If you weren't a joke, then why is Everrise picking on you? I mean, Everrise is picking on you?
I mean, last week they had a receipt. Like you said, it's a receipt.
Everrise is picking on you? You can't let Everrise disrespect you in that ring like that. Everrise? Come on.
I like their ring gear. It's cool.
You can't let those guys disrespect you. They disrespect you, man. Then you clearly got to take things a little more seriously. Come on.
Savage. You're a savage.
I mean,
I can't believe you punk ass got punked by Everrise.
You got punked by Everrise?
It's almost time for us to get out of here. But before we do, we have a segment we have to call One to Watch. One to Watch brought to you by Gamerware. Head up gmrware.com. Use promo code FLOBO for 10% off of your order. Jack Farmer, NXT, NXTUK. What's the one person who you think is the MVP of either show of the past 24 hours?
Now, are we talking MVP or are we talking like the person to watch, like the up and comer? Maybe I misunderstood last time.
It's like a lead of the week, but there's only one person. So it could be both.
Oh, well, then I have to go, even though I didn't say very nice things about him, I got to go Dragunov, man. Like, he did something that has never been done before. He pinned Walter on NXT UK. He showed that the devil bleeds. He cut him down and beat him. You can't top that. There's nothing that happened all week that's bigger than pinning the ring general. There's nothing that tops it.
Yeah, that's my pick too. If you pick that one, I was going to say that one we cannot name on the show anymore. Dexter Lumis. But yeah, Ilya Dragunov in a runaway. Those chops alone was something I wouldn't do. And the funny thing is that if I got chopped by Walter, I think it would even be worse because I have no tone or definition up here to speak of. It's like a giant pillow. It's like a memory foam mattress up here. It would totally be the thing.
You know those old things that they had all the little pins and like you put your hand on it and it would like make the shape. If he slapped my chest, my back would look like that, where you see his hand on the other side coming through.
I can't tell if he's really skinny or.
He'd slap my chest. I'm like, my back.
Walter is a beast, and he's a beast and a half. But that does it for us here at Draped in Gold. Jack Farmer, do me a favor, and tell the whole world where they can find you online, buy your stuff, sell your gimmicks, and all that jazz.
You can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. You can buy a shirt at realjackfarmer.threadless.com. You can check me out on the Anytime Radio Show every Monday at theanytimeradioshow.com. You can check me out on the Everything Tournament every Tuesday. You can check me out on Elite Peak of the Week on Tuesday as well as Elite of the Week on Wednesday. They're both shows based around AEW Dynamite. You can also check me here doing Draped in Gold, and you can check me out on the Believe NXT show this week as a special guest with Flobo Boyce.
Yeah, we're going to be on this week. And shout out to the real Grant CFO rolling through from Minor League Esports, my homeboy in Rocket League Arms. I always show people our clip we did that one time a couple weeks ago. So here's the deal. You can follow me all over the internet at Flobo Boyce, wherever social media platform you use or prefer. And as far as shows are concerned, man, Thursday mornings I sit down with creatives in a show called New Amsterdam Radio. Draped in Gold this afternoon. Our brand new Star Trek Discovery show, Commander's Log, debuts at 6 p.m. Pacific tonight on Thursday, right here on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook, and the Everything Tournament with Jack Farmer and Evan T. Mack and Heidi Mack. And you guys are also on Twitch at 4:30 Pacific on Tuesdays as well. But as I've done exhausted everywhere in the world you can find me, that does it for us here at Draped in Gold. I'll be back here next week. So until then, peace out.